Hey, I'm gonna try something different today. It's the end of the week here. I want to see. I got a bunch of new gear, so I'm just playing around with my setup here. You can see that I've got more of a side view. This is actually like a one of the crappier webcams that I have, the Razer something. But since it's Friday, first I thought I would give myself the freedom to do some futzing around this episode, which means I'm going to check out the sound here. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so someone can tell me if the sound goes out, but so far it sounds good. So what I want to do, I don't have my regular camera. Normally I'd have my phone hooked up here, but like I said, we're getting a bunch of stuff, and there's a couple of things I want to do. One, uh, there's this piece, this column. I think it's for like DevOps.com or the Container Journal that I've been working on with some people, and I just like I keep getting distracted. So I want to finish that out. And two, I can't help but like futz around with things. But I'm trying to be like cool streamer person with my background stuff here. Now, check this out. Let's see if the lighting that I have does anything. I'm gonna monitor my own audio while I'm doing this so I can see how the mic works. That's pretty good. So let's see. I've got that. Oh, see, you can see some blue over there, and then, uh, whoa, that is a little too much. Let's adjust it down here. Parlor lights. We call this room the parlor. Keep going. Toilet first floor. Okay. So let me adjust this. That's kind of fun. Let's try 10%. 21%. I'm gonna go with it. It's kind of stupid, but let's just have fun with it for now. Okay. All right. Well, this audio is really good with this mic. Let's see if I move back all the way how it sounds, because I like. Yeah, it's a little different. I was thinking maybe I could get a lav mic if I was going to be more portable. So yeah, so yesterday I tried to make one of my tiny videos where I was going to make a breakfast taco and promote a great webinar that we did with Forrester, where they kind of go over their platform stuff. Maybe I should just kind of do, but one, I got distracted setting things up and getting streaming stuff and so forth and so on. But one of the new things I got is this Mevo, I forget what it's called. It's the new Mevo. I have the really old, well, relatively really old Mevo, the little tube person. And this is pretty good, but it forces a fisheye. And my theory with this, I was experimenting with building a kit that, as the people on our developer advocate team, the team I'm on, kind of are out in the field, we could, I wanted to make something that was like more or less literally push button streaming, which you can do with this. And so I wanted to test that out, but we got budget just to order all the equipment. So I haven't been able to test it much yet, but I think most everyone ordered one of these. And then along with a shotgun mic, I put in the, was it the Rode? I think the Rode shotgun mic, but there actually is a better one. Well, it looks better because it's kind of multi-purpose. Maybe I'll try to get one of those as well. But anyways, my idea was that you could hook this up, have a shotgun mic on it and a tripod, and push the button and be out in the field and either just do like a one talking head, or better, you could interview people, which would be cool. But in the meantime, I thought this is my problem, is I just want to test out gear and play around with it. But I wanted to test out what if, because you can use this actually as a webcam in for your computer. It's not really like the best, but I wanted to compare it to the Razer and see if it's actually better as far as a webcam goes. So let me power this up. Now this actually has a really interesting multi-camera thing that you can use if you get multiple of these, or you have your old Tube Boy. The only issue with this is it uses Wi-Fi for networking, and it's kind of not great. Well, especially if you live in an old house with a bunch of stone like this one. But whatever. So let me connect to this. Oh, there's an update available. I won't install that now. So you can see I've got it hardwired, and what you can do is you can put it in webcam mode. So let's do that. Where is webcam mode? So here, see, there's an app on the phone to control it. Where is audio and video? Oh no, it'd probably be under Mevo settings. Huh. Let's see. Turn that off. So auto. No, I don't want to go live. As much as that would be cool. Where is the webcam mode? It's kind of hard to figure out where stuff is in this app. Maximum frame rate, storage. Oh, right. It also has NDI, which actually, I wonder if that would be better. If we do it with NDI, that means that we can move around. But I'll worry about that some other time. So I think the only thing with webcam mode is that it won't actually be like the full resolution, but I think we will still be able to like mess around with shots. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll be able to still create. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, so now I realize you can't. Well, I'll move this over here so you can kind of see it. I was hunting down a Carl Sagan quote here, of all things. So let's see. See, I figured this would be like more like what streaming people do. You can kind of check out. Look, I got the blue lights. It's very, very exciting. So let me come over here. First of all, I'm going to switch back to the studio mode. I like what that looks like a lot better in Twitch. That way I can see that there's one viewer. It's good stuff. All right. Why is it streaming at crap? All right. So now I want to come in here and let's add in, see if I can add that thing into OBS. So let's call it the Mevo. I'll call it the Mevo Big Boy. And then does it list that? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Whoa. Here, let me... Mevo Big Boy. Oh, no, that's no good. Oh, see, you can, I've got my screen set up there. So stop. Oh, I deleted that whole scene. Okay, that good. Okay. So I'm just going to expand this over it for now. And you can see. Right. So let me take the graphics off. So now let's do a little bit of a side-by-side here. So the Mevo would give me some overly ridiculous control that I don't need over scenes and stuff like that. But that's fine. So we'll put this here. And then we'll put this guy here. So let me go back. There we go. So let's take this over here. This nice long cable. And you can kind of see behind the scenes here a little bit. Oh, my wife would not want you to. Let me get a tripod. I need to clean up. You know, I got all that stuff. And consequently, I have a lot of boxes. Well, let's set up the tripod guy here. This is a great tripod. Just not that, I don't know if it's the cheapest, like just like an Amazon tripod. And it's not like as cool as the ones that have like all of the, someone's leftover apples are there. Cool as the ones that have like, you know, feels like it has like more smooth oiled action of moving stuff. But I don't know. It's always only like 30 euros versus like 120. I got one that was like 120 euros and it sure seemed nice, but it was also really heavy. Okay. So let's get that guy going up. See how long we can make the cord. So now I'm going to move this right next to the razor, as right next as possible. And we're going to compare kind of the quality. All right, well, right away. Well, the problem is the Mevo is also following me around, which is kind of annoying. So let me get the app here and see. So you can see the Mevo is, so here's the Mevo one, right? It's a little, we'll turn that off and we can switch back and forth between these. So this is a good use of my time. Like I said, I get stuck configuring this stuff. So here's the Razer camera. There's I think the Mevo is lower resolution, but it's like a lot less weird. Let's see what we can modify here. Now, also, you know, the fun thing about the Mevo is I could be like, hey, how's it going? And I think that would lock it on that, right? And oh, see, and then it would also follow me around, which is kind of fun. But so let's see. See, that would be too much. Let's not do that. Yeah. Yeah. We'll just keep it on the wide shot there. And then let me see. So it's 1280 by 720. Let me switch it to high and see if that does anything better. No. See, I need some way of turning off the auto switching because I don't like auto switching. In this case, at least. Even though it's fun. So I think the Mevo is good as a camera, but let's go back. I feel like the Razer, if I could make it less, maybe what I need to do is de-sharpen it. Let me see. I've never de-sharpened something. Unsharpened? Dulled. But like it feels like a little too crisp. So we'll make it super. Whoa! See, that would be too much. So maybe if we move it down to like, I don't, this is one of those things where I don't really know what I'm doing. With me, what you got to look out for is the beard getting all weird. But that, I think that looks nicer. It's a little too dark. So where is that under color correction? So what I'm doing is turning the gamma up. No, let's reset that. The contrast maybe. Lighten it just a little bit. Yeah, see, the Razer thing is not really ideal. But until I get my little better camera, I think it's okay. Uh-huh. All right. But it's the filters that I want to mess with. Just let me put up with one. Invert polarity, noise suppression. No, it doesn't have that. I don't know what a crop pad is. No, no, no. See if we desaturate it some. I don't know. See, I'm too dark over there, but that's all right. Anyways, I'm gonna just do that a little bit. I think that's a little bit better until I figure out something better. So the conclusion is, especially because it keeps doing that auto follow, which I need to turn off, the Mevo is not the best for doing this business. However, since I have it set up, why don't we get a? Let me turn it off. Why don't we set up street view? In case you want to see what's going outside. I messed up the camera there. What I'm doing is I'm Setting up the camera. I'm sure, see what's going on out here. That way we can see if we get any packages. I don't know. I don't want to be a creepy guy. We'll just set up the Mevo for an additional camera. That I won't actually use. All right. Thus ends the futzing around part of our episode. Let me see if I can add the markers in here. Where did add marker go? There we go. All right. So what I want to do next is, see, that's better if I lean back, but whatever. Like I said, I've been working on, here, let me adjust this back. I want that screen to be kind of hidden for stuff I don't want to put onto the filmy. To that end, I'll move this over so you don't see that. So I've been working on this piece, like I said, about, I don't know, I think it came up as like developer prediction stuff. And I've been writing it with someone else, and I'm trying to edit it down to something that I like. Someone took a pass at writing it. It's kind of a weird thing that you have nowadays, or I have, is people start writing stuff for you and you can come in and write it up. And, it's fine. It's just I want to kind of cast it into more into my voice in the way that I would do things. So since I need to work on that, I thought, why don't we do that together? And I will, you'll get a sense of what it's like to like write one of these pieces. So let me make sure. There we go. So you can get kind of an idea of what that looks like. Let me see if that's zoomed in enough for you. Yeah, there you go. You can see what it's like. So let's go over this. Now there's a few. So, oh, look, my daughter contributed some typing to this yesterday. So what I did is I went through, so essentially I just wanted to do a prediction piece about like people will pay attention to making developer stuff better in Kubernetes. Sorry, I got to futz with the microphone. Until I've used it for a while. Ooh, I've got the gain way up. Until I've used it for a while, I'll have to futz with this thing forever. Which I guess is annoying, but that's what's got to happen. So here we are. So we did have this great, state of Kubernetes report, right? Lots of things to draw on from there. And also the good thing is like there's always a lot of surveys from organizations, especially analysts, and you often need or should ask permission to use the stuff. And those review processes are long and I don't know, it's annoying. So it's good to have your own survey information. So let's look over this. I need to also jump back into what I was doing here. I think where I left off is I was making the case that there are, can I do my own? Great. Let me close down the outline. There we go. So I was trying to make the case that developers have too much to do if you just give them like raw Kubernetes. But what I found missing yesterday and what I couldn't get to is kind of listing like what that stuff was. And I think we have a good list and kind of for our Tanzu application platform and the kind of like talking points we have for that. And it's a nice legit use of things. So let's go through. Each year more and more organizations are running Kubernetes in production. Let's see. Here, let's change it to this. As more and more organizations are are running Kubernetes in production. They're facing, let's see, they're finding that developers, application developers, need to focus too much on Kubernetes. So this is always the fine art of this kind of thing, is you don't want to insult the thing by saying it's complex, because you're supposed to be cool with it too. So I need to focus too much on. Oh, let's put it this way: we're focusing too much on Kubernetes and not enough on application development. We'll say are having. This year, I think we'll see major shift to developer experience Oh. Major shift in the cloud native world to fixing this problem. So that's not so bad, I think. According to VMware's The State of Kubernetes, I'm just going to use my prerogative to do this. And then also, it's always nice. Let's see if I can encode my own. Oh yeah, see they're not even doing URL encoding here. So let's brew that up. Now I'm going to do this off screen so you don't see all of my notes. But what we are going to do is put that in there. Then, so I am going to construct together a URL that, if it gets passed through, will allow me to track if anyone follows it, and it will be 2022 Kate's. We'll call it DevX prediction. Now, which campaign should we use? This is a good question. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to hide this because I don't want you to see all of them. But we have, I finally found the handy dandy list of campaigns that we track. So let's go over to where that is. UTM tracking guidelines. Let me do a little coffee sipping there for you. How was that? Good stuff, right? State. No, not them. Exclusive from state of ability. Huh. We may not have this state of Kubernetes. Let's see if that's Kubernetes developer ebook. There we go. But which campaign? Oh, okay. That one looks pretty good. They're all the same. So let's see if that's the only. So what I'm scrolling through that you can't see is we have a bunch So they use all this. Oh, that's for APJ. We have a bunch of these little campaign codes that allow us to see, like, when we drive people or when we suggest that people use or go look up one of the things that we have that's, as they say, gated. You fill out a little form, then we know where they came from. But also, it just helps track, incoming traffic of where that is. So, what I've done here is constructed that link. Let me put that up here. We're going to see if it actually works now. Oh yeah, I have something in my Safari settings that makes it not work with our website. Probably because I have the thing that is just like, don't bug me with your cookies. Okay, so there we go. So that's the first. I'm going to change this because, might as well. Boom. Okay. So according to VMware State of Kubernetes, usage has gone from 59 to 65. So that's pretty, and as I always say, never confuse the usage with market share or we'll just call it market share, right? Like, we'll see if I'll probably update this, but I think based on like Gartner and other stuff, I think maybe like 10 to 15% of all workloads, all software globally in enterprises runs in Kubernetes, right? So that's a lot different than there's at least one Kubernetes running in an organization, at least one. But still, that's good that I think it's production usage, right? Yeah. Let's see. Everyone is getting more experience. We'll just shorten that. In many cases, however, application developers are having to put up with too much extra work because they're being asked too much extra work. Should I say deal? Let's say to interact. What's the synonym? So that's, you don't want to use the same. Developer. In many cases, however, application developers are having to put up with too much extra work. Put up with additional, because they're being asked, because, let's see. I'll just say interact. It's not phrased very well, but whatever. Kubernetes is designed for operations and infrastructure. People. It standardizes how cloud infrastructure is described, used, and run. Kubernetes, let's say, in my estimation, that's a little bit of like a Southern talk there. Kubernetes has achieved this goal. The Kubernetes experience for application developers is still challenging. I'm always allergic to adding a but at the end of a sentence or a however. But I think here, hey, I just did it. But I think here it actually works out well, right? Because you want to shift dramatically to this, the next thing. Well, the infrastructure level is simplified. Developers are still left to configure just about every aspect of how their application is packaged, configured, deployed, communicates, runs, and runs. The flexibility and openness of Kubernetes is beneficial if you're building a platform but it becomes overwhelming if all you want to do is build applications. That's not so bad. So now let's go to, we have a list over here of, yeah. Let's say, for example, organizations, application developers are spending too much time putting together the configuration. Let's see. Maybe, see, I really want an example here. Let me put this, but maybe I won't have that. Let's see. You've probably heard people complaining about YAML. And in this past year, the idea of a secure software supply chain. Let's see. To cite two examples of this extra work, you've probably heard people complaining about YAML. In this past year, the idea of a people complain about YAML. What they mean is the time developers spend describing and configuring how their applications are deployed, configured, and interact with other services like networking, storage, and other applications. On its own, Kubernetes doesn't automatically do this or really provide any starting templates. Again, that's not its job. Normally, developers let's see. How about I'll say, let's look at two examples of this extra work that's damaging developer productivity. Let's see. You've probably heard people complaining about YAML. Walls of YAML, YAML hell, and other delightful, I don't know, mutterings. Oh. Here, I do this really. Kubernetes doesn't really have the responsibility of knowing the type of applications it's running or what they need. So we're queued up the application aware platform here. So queued up application aware platform. All right. What it is, So there you go, a little bit of grammar there for you. Is that grammar? What it's running. Also, I finally sorted out. I'm very proud of myself. This is my accomplishment. I think I sorted this out in December of last year. Maybe it was this year. You've got principle, which is a a guiding idea, a law, a thing that you help guide something. Principles. It's against our principles to use multiple cameras. It's against our principles to show you a view of the street. Now that's fun, but you've got another one called principal, which is they're the principal person or the principal of a school. And I finally figured out the way you can remember the difference is that this is a person, and so they're your principal. I think someone has told me that, multiple people over the years, but that way, you don't have to remember this. You just have to remember there's two ways of spelling this word, and the one that's pal is a person, principal. Now, wouldn't it be funny if I had that exactly backwards? I'm not going to go look it up, but whatever. All right, so let's go back. And then here's another one. If you can't remember, if you can't remember it's versus its. This one's a little complicated, right? Because normally, if I were to say, my name being Michael, if I were like, hey, that's Michael's donut, put it down. So here, you always use an apostrophe. Well, always, except when I'm about to explain, use an apostrophe to show the possessive. It's Michael's donut. Whereas this wouldn't make sense. That's Michael's. This is multiple Michael's donut. Like, I actually ate a pizza last night, or night before last, called the Big Americans Pizza. It's very confusing what this means, right? If you were to put an apostrophe here, that would mean that it was the pizza that was sort of owned, or it was in this, it was the thing of the Big Americans, right? Like it was the biker's choice or whatever. But then if you have this, it's like plural. So the plural big Americans, I don't know, it's really weird. But then, so you might think that if you were to say it's possessive, you would put an apostrophe there, but no, that's not the case, because then I guess a contraction has the right of way. So this is short for it is, which you would think, which I guess a contraction has the right of way. So, in the same way that you could have what's, or like, I don't think this is proper, but it's a good one. Where do you get that from? But whatever. But the way you can remember this, and I think it was actually Bridget Kromhout, I should know how to pronounce that better since I'm here in the Netherlands, but that she told me is it's natural to say hers and his, right? You don't say, right? Isn't that right? Anyways, see how the power, did I close that? See how the power grid's doing back in Austin there. Wait a second. Where did it go? Oh no. What? Where did my text go? Well, that's weird. Let's get that open back up. There we go. There's your little thrilling grammar lesson for the day. Let's go back over here. Anyhow, if you know that hers, if you know that hers is like that, then its is the same way, right? You don't have that there. Now, of course, in kind of like some sort of dialect of American, you could also say hersen, but I don't know if there's I would put an apostrophe there. Where were we? The flexibility and openness of Kubernetes is beneficial if you're building a platform, but it becomes overwhelming if all you want to do is build applications. Yep. So developers have to define all that plumbing. Let's see. All right. So then second, let's look at, and then what was the other one? With all the security problems the past couple of years, the idea of a secure software supply chain is front and center. Briefly, this means that you have much more control of what third-party components are included in your software and have the ability to track down and fix those components when the what would we call this? The security breach of the week comes around. Here, I think what I need to do is specify. I think it's according to Kubernetes design from. When developers are deploying applications weekly, if not daily, you can't manually do all that security stuff. You need to automate the checking, enforcement, and remediation of problems. Here, Kubernetes has little to offer because, you guessed it, that's not its job. The tools needed to put a secure software supply chain in place. Let's see. Developers are often left to figure out left on their own to handle security requirements. This is not only a lot of extra work for developers, but is incredibly error prone. Because, well, developers are not security experts and tend to prioritize features over security because the business asks them to. I should probably stop using exclamation points all the time. All right. You get the idea. Let's see. An application developer wants to focus on the actual application layer, the features, screens, and workflow, business logic, and workflows in their software. Application developers do their best work when they are all of this plumbing work is not fun for them and also distracts from helping out. From improving their business. Let's see, improving how their business functions by adding features to their applications. After several years of IT departments exploring and standing up Kubernetes strategies, many of them exploring Kubernetes strategies, and now starting to deploy more applications to Kubernetes. They're surfacing these developer problems. They're surfacing thankfully, the Kubernetes ecosystem is spending a lot of time that need is driving the ecosystem to focus more on developer experience. I think that's all right. All right, so we don't need this. So I think what I'll do, I'll move this up here. I hope that in 2022 we will see increased So let's move this up here. And delete this out. No more coffee. Probably good for me not to drink more coffee. It's not actually, great sometimes. Oh, look, maybe what I should do is is embiggen a word anymore? People used to say that. I could embiggen the view of me. You can see my most excellent posture. All right. What does this little thing do? What happens if I click on this? This is like in the Fantastic Mr. Fox, where he's like, oh, look at this chain. I think if you pull on this chain, a cage goes down over there. And then he pulls down the chain and the cage falls on him and his lady. And he's like, nope, it's trapped right here. So, let's find solutions. Yeah, let's get rid of this. Oh, how come it's not? Did I write that? Oh, it went back to editing. That's weird. Well, whatever. The good news is that the industry already understands this. The good news is that is that we have a long history of solving this problem in past. We have a long history of solving that can draw from. A bit of a clunky sentence, but whatever. All right, so let's get back to reduce friction with application-aware platforms. Is friction a word that so see, it's good to have like to establish a better Kubernetes experience for MVP. That's more. They're finding that the application developers focus too much on Kubernetes and not. This year, I think we'll see a major shift in the cloud-native world. To fix this problem by removing to remove this friction and speed up developers' release cycles. Speed up application release cycles. We'll see. All right, so we introduced the idea of friction up there, right? According to the product news, gone up to, let's see. Kubernetes momentum. Kubernetes it's better to have a title that says something, but momentum shows that it is here to stay. There we go. We'll use that. What was this notification of? All right. For application developers, it's still. Oh, there we go. Kubernetes exposes developer friction. It's still challenging. Delightful. What is other delightful sayings? Here. Let's see. Define. Sardonic. Grimly. Yes. Hear what the sardonic mutters mean. Mutterers. Sardonic. Mutterers? Those who mutter? Mutterers mean is the time developers spend describing and configuring how the applications are deployed. You get the idea. Now starting to play more. They're suffering from these. They're suffering from this developer friction. Let's see. After several years of IT departments exploring Kubernetes strategies and now starting to deploy more application to Kubernetes, there's surface this. This developer friction is well known. All right, huh? We've discovered this developer friction. So the urgency to fix, to remove this friction is driving the ecosystem to more. Yep. I hope that in 2022 we'll see an increased focus on improving. In turn, It's a bit of repetition there, but whatever. All right, reduce friction. Just the ecosystem of tools is diverse and full of choice. This means that users are bringing their own opinions on how they build, manage, which can create a fragmentation. I don't know. I think I already covered that. Explore, choose tools, increasing alongside figures, integrates for our teams. They have to manage several bespoke software to supply chain. Let's switch our background music to this one. Hopefully it'll switch over soon. No? Oh, because I have it on mute. Smart guy that I am. Okay. So I feel like I've already said this while still trying to observe. The fragmentation is friction. For developers, knowing platform work is important, but they should not. So to make sense of all the tooling, and application. So let's see. All right. My colleagues working on the VMware Tanzu projects have been developing the idea of an application-aware platform. This is based on how the Spring framework operates, using a fancy sounding idea called inversion of control. Operates how the Spring framework on so what would we call this? Developer experience thinking that drives the Spring framework. You can reduce a lot of how Spring works down to providing templates and sensible defaults. Let's see. Sensible defaults and automating a lot of the plumbing mentioned above. Application developers who use Spring spend very little time on all of those tasks. This is because Spring is an instance of an application-aware platform. Let's take this hyphen out. I don't think that's necessary. Let's fix this to the proper heading. Let's see. Get rid of this. You know, I think there's another piece where I tried to explain. Let me look this up over here off screen in case there's something secret that I don't want you to see. Come over here, log into that Google, this Google, that Google, all the great Googles. Where? Churning. Let's see if I got to anything here. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna. It's hard to just like plunk that down into there. It's kind of its own standalone piece. All right, so it makes sense. Utilizing it will accelerate the path. Quickly onboard and debug applications. Secure. The ecosystem continues to expand, and more organizations having those multiple layers of abstraction. That's what will make the difference. And not allowing for quicker code deployment. Also honoring these abstraction layers will allow Kubernetes to really shine. It no longer drags out and hinders developers' work. That's all right. And this was the point of Kubernetes all along. To be a platform for building your application developer platform or experience, if you like. Let's do a little Lebowski reference here. If you're into the whole poetic phrasing thing, a little character in there or something. You know, after all these years of writing, a lot of times, you know, I'm just trying to see what I can get away with. But people tend to like it. So what I need to do now is really kind of define what that is. So in the case of Kubernetes, an application-aware platform. Okay, to make Kubernetes application-aware means to provide a good set of starter templates. Let's see. Sensible defaults, configuration methods, I don't really know what that means. Configuration methods and the supporting services like CI/CD, security, and middleware that developers need to use. All of this is generally pre-configured for developers. As Carl Sagan said, is it to bake an apple pie from scratch? Carl Sagan. Let's see. Without this kind of bootstrapping, developers are left to build, let's see, are left to start from scratch. As Carl Sagan said. What? That didn't work. All right. Just throw a quote in here. See what's up with that. I think there should probably be a comment in here, right? Passes we've developed over the years, such as Cloud Foundry, have done a lot of this bootstrapping for developers. And we can apply those patterns and experience to, or we can use those patterns and best practices to build a developer platform on top Kubernetes. Insert all the YAML complainers here. You don't have to start from scratch to solve this problem, thankfully. That's a nice point there. Utilizing this with the ability to quickly onboard. Okay. I think I'm also seeing many other. I'm also seeing. Let's see. I'm also seeing other components in these platforms. Let's see. I'm also seeing other components pop up in these platforms. Support for debugging applications in Kubernetes, for discovering and using APIs, microservices, and serverless. And as boring as the phrase sounds, developer portals that speed up the discovery and reuse of let's see that centralize everything developers need to know about their applications, how it's running in production, complying with security and governance needs. And discovering and reusing their applications and services in their organization. Platforms. To name two, let's see. Not name, to for example, Kubernetes is incredibly important. Also, there's a large focus on developer portals. Large focus. There we go. There's also a large focus on developer portals. As boring as this name sounds, please email me if you have something better. developer portals. You can tell I love using colons. Governance need. Let's see. I'm excited to see these applications or platforms evolve this year. I'm hoping that they looks nice. Get us help developers. We'll get developers focused back on their applications by removing this friction. By removing the need for developers to spend so much time working with Kubernetes directly. Get application developers focus back. Their software. Yeah. To reappropriate an old phrase. Good job writing all that YAML, said no CIO ever. No CIO over in the said no IC ever in the annual review. Good job configuring. Was it the cloud? Said no CIO ever. Let's see. Let's see what the other one was. I wonder what Simon's up to nowadays. It's a first wave of Pivotal's life here. You can see the kind of presentations we did back then. Wow, he really threw the kitchen sink at this. You got some Matt Stein stuff in there. Good old Schaefer. Conway's Law. It's all in there. All right. So let's see. Where is the great job provisioning servers this year? Yep, there we go. Let me see if I can find a good link for that. I feel like, let's see if I wrote this somewhere. Ugh. Said no CIO ever. We'll put this search on. To reuse an old phrase, say typing. In your annual bonus review. All right, have I used abstraction already? As the ecosystem continues to expand and more organizations adopt the tech. It's so weird. Let's see. It's safe to say, hey, got a little bit of a rhyme there. Safe to say that Kubernetes is here to stay. As the ecosystem's ontologies, we need a developer. We need a platform. Top Kubernetes. Let's see. Using a platform on top of Kubernetes will make all the difference in developer experience by not allowing only for quicker code and deployment, but also building an automated. Organizations will discover the need to layer a platform on top of Kubernetes. To layer a application aware platform on top of Kubernetes. This will make all the difference in the developer experience. This platform layer It's a little too negative. All right. I think that's something. Now let's go to check that out. Then you can remove all that crap. Okay, so let's go here. Uh-oh, it's the phone. Gotta go check that. Where is be back? So not only do I have a book detailing that sort of story and process, but there's also a book about removing other bottlenecks, especially finance, strategy, and the C-suite, if not the board. Just go to Coté.pizza, and you can download those books for free, and all sorts of other things that are kind of in that area. Here's a bitter ballin. Put it in mustard. Pretty good. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed watching me eat bitter ball and things like that. So let's get back to as more. Now, what I don't. Here, let's go to viewing. It's Kubernetes and cloud recently, with 65% of companies reporting using Kubernetes in production. That reads weird. Huh? Oh, yeah. Because you have to accept all the changes. Let me, can I name this version? Name current version. Let's see. Coté's, we'll call it Coté's edits. And then, what happens if we go to editing? Ugh. I hate how, I don't think Google has a accept all, which is super duper annoying. Let's search for that. Google Docs accept all changes. Preview way to click it. It looked like without the changes, click the down arrow. Oh. Really? Obviously, I didn't read that well enough. All right. On your computer, click Tools, Review Suggested Edits. Okay. Tools. Bam! All right. I get a little excited about that kind of stuff. Sorry about that. So, as more and more is finding that out. And not enough on application development. Not enough on, let's put it like this, their actual applications. This year, I think, let's see, I predict that we'll see a major shift in the cloud native world to remove a major shift to remove this friction and speed up application release cycle. In order to speed up application and still get all the benefits of Kubernetes. All right. I think that's all good. Tools. Let me just turn this off. Accept all. Okay. And go back just to editing. According to VMware State of Kubernetes report, production usage, let's say, Kubernetes has gone up from 59% to 65%. Everyone is getting more experience with Kubernetes and the ecosystem is developing quickly. In many cases, however, application developers are having to put up with too much extra work because they're being asked to interact with Kubernetes directly. Kubernetes is designed for operations and infrastructures people. It standardizes how cloud infrastructure is described, used, and run. In my estimation, Kubernetes has achieved this goal. But the Kubernetes experience for applications developers is still challenging. While the infrastructure level is simplified, developers are still left to configure just about every aspect of how their application developers, their applications, let's do it this way, are packaged, configured, deployed, communicate, and run. Let's look at two examples of this extra work that's damaging, that is two examples that are creating developer friction. You've probably heard people complaining about what would we call this? Time developers been describing and configuring how their applications are deployed, configured, and interact with. On its own, Kubernetes doesn't actually do this, or really provide any starting templates. Kubernetes doesn't really have the responsibility of knowing the type of application it's running or what those applications need. That's not its job. So developers have to define all that plumbing. The flexibility and openness of Kubernetes is beneficial if you're building a platform, but it becomes overwhelming if all you want to do is build applications. With all the security problems of the past, let's see. Shifting left, security without suffocating developers. Suffocating's a little dramatic. Smothering? Let's go for that. All security this past couple of years, the idea of a secure software supply chain is front and center. Briefly, that means the concept means that you have much more control over what third-party components are included in your software and have the ability to track down and fix those components when the security of breach of the week comes around. When developers are deploying applications weekly, if not daily, you can't manually do all that security stuff. Let's see. Weekly. To achieve the level of control needed, you need to automate let's see. You need to automate the checking and enforcement. Here, Kubernetes has little to offer because, you guessed it, that's not its job. Developers are often left to handle security requirements on their own. This is not only a lot of extra work for developers, but is incredibly error-prone as well, because developers are not security experts and tend to prioritize features over security. Oh, I see. All right. You get the idea. But all this plumbing is not fun for them. Also distracts them. After several years of the urgency to remove friction is driving the ecosystem. Boy, how long have I been streaming? Almost 2 hours. Hopefully it's incredibly enjoyable. See, increased focus on improving the Kubernetes experience for developers. Apple pie without all the universe creation. Let's see. You could do this more artfully, but one of the great things about a deadline, even though I don't have the deadline, is that it forces you to stop trying and just go with something. Let's see. There are many more examples of friction, but you get the idea. All the plumbing work is not fun for them. After several years of IT, and now starting to play, we discovered the developer friction. The urgency to remove this friction is driving the ecosystem. I hope we have that all targeted at removing with flexibility and increased. All targeted at removing the operational friction. Yeah, we can just remove that. The good news is that we have a long history of solving this problem that we can draw from. That we can start with. And the VMware have been developing the idea of an application-aware platform. This is based on how developer experience thinking that drive. This is based on the developer that drives the Spring framework. You can reduce a lot of how Spring works down to providing templates, sensible defaults, and automating a lot of the plumbing mentioned above. Application developers who use Spring, let's see. Java developers who use Spring spend very little time on all of those tasks. This is because Spring is an instance of an application-aware platform. To make Kubernetes application-aware means to provide a good set of starter templates, sensible defaults, configuration method, and the supporting service and without this kind of bootstrapping, developers are left to start from scratch. Insert all the YAML containers here. I don't understand. Sketch. I probably shouldn't look up what Scratch is, or Sketch. What is Sketch? That's not a thing. Oh, wow. A kind of bit for bridles, also called a sketch mouth. Well, that's not what developers are left to start with. We don't have to start from scratch to solve this problem, thankfully. The passes we've developed over the years, such as Cloud Foundry, have done a lot of this bootstrapping for developers. And we can use those patterns and best practices to build a developer platform on top of Kubernetes. I'm also seeing other components pop up in these platforms. For example, support for debugging applications more than the name sounds. Let me write a comment here. Can cut for length. Man, I'm hungry. I got some pork chops that I need to make. I think I'll make a stir fry with that. I'm excited to see how these applications are. Let's check on the need. This kind of phrase, there's a better way to do this. But again, I need to finish here. Spend so much time working. This year. Said no CI ever in your annual bonus review. Haha. So funny. Ah! I hate it when it does that. See? What? There we go. It's safe to say that Kubernetes is here to stay. Sure. Be more bold. I was, my grandpa, when he was listening to music on the radio and driving around, he would go like this as if he had he was like someone doing this thing, and I always think of that as like the maestro. The maestro has arrived, and so I'm always doing that, thinking like when I'm listening to music, the maestro has arrived in a silly way. And now you who have watched this are the only one who knows about that phrase that goes on in my head. To expand and more about the technology, organizations discover the need to layer a platform application aware. Need Discover the need for an application-aware platform. That's poorly phrased again. This will make all the difference in the net. Let's do it this way by allowing for quicker code deployment and also building an automated that ensures high-level security, not just low-level. An automated, we'll just say effective. Let's see, combined with this platform, Kubernetes will really shine. All right, let's see what we got here. Tools, word count. That's not so bad. I would have thought that was a lot more than 1,000. All right, well, I think this new setup is pretty nice. Hopefully it was entertaining for you. I don't know, but I think, I mean, I don't need to see this because I've seen it for several decades, but maybe it gives you a sense of the process of kind of writing and coming up with something like this. So I started off with like someone kind of wrote out some ideas. I mean, I'll be honest, they ghost wrote a piece based on some stuff I'd said here and there. And I went through and I guess rewrote it essentially. But the points that they were making in the structure, like I find it really difficult to come up with that stuff. So it was extremely helpful. I think what you find, well, maybe not all people, all writing, but a lot of writing, it's a lot easier to start with something to edit, even if you end up rewriting all of it. So it's really that first draft that is the critical part for starting things out. So we'll see what happens with this. And with that, if you want to get the archives, I don't think I'll archive this one because, who cares? But you can get the better, I don't know, maybe I should archive it because also who cares? It's bi-directional. But if you go to tanzutalk.com, you can find a link to the videos, or tanzutalk.com/videos. You can see almost 2 years worth of videos and other stuff, long, short, other things like that. And with that, we'll see everyone next time. Hopefully next week I'll have more time to spend doing some more tinier videos. I think I'm going to make a breakfast taco and promote a webinar we did with Forrester going over what a platform is. Anyways, bye-bye.